Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Well, this is my first video, so welcome. Okay, I am going to be doing general tips for the SAT, so tune in. There's something I forgot to mention. All my tips come from the Black Book and 1600.io, so I'm gonna link those where I got all of my tips from, and I'm gonna link it down below. The thing is with me, I'm taking those tips and summarizing what they are instead of you having to watch like hour-long videos. I'm just kind of summarizing what they are, and I'm also adding tips of my own. So yeah. Tip number 1, quality over quantity. Instead of studying a lot and kind of stressing yourself out on a bunch of things, you could study one thing at a time, even though you might not be studying as much as you would if you crammed everything, right?
You need to take things slowly.
It's a lot better to study, if you were studying from a book, let's say, it's a lot better to study 5 chapters and know them really well than 10 chapters and know each one not so much, right? Another one is that there isn't gonna be a secret to doing great on the SAT, a secret formula per se. I use per se, but like, just there is no secret tip or secret formula you use to do well in the SAT. You need to study. Point blank.
Hello, this is me editing, but like the reason there is no secret formula is because you have like these companies trying to put forward this secret formula. Like if you read this book, you're gonna get 1600 on the SAT. That's not true. You just really need to understand the test and know how the test works and how they could trick you. How the test could trick you. Study those, learn those, and that's it. That would be the secret formula, but there is just no one-way ticket to getting a good score. That's it.
If you're practicing, if you want to do a practice test, make sure that they're real and you're not solving them from any other resource, unless it's College Panda. I love College Panda, so that's that. But like, if you want to try to replicate what the testing day would look like, try to get real resources like the SAT practice test 9 or whatever, and I'll link all the practice tests down below. This is the 3rd tip. Okay, sorry I didn't number. I'm a horrible YouTuber, by the way. This is my first ever YouTuber, don't judge me. Okay, so like for every answer choice, you're gonna need to look at every answer choice and really consider them thoroughly. What that means is that when you get like a set of answer choices, like if you look at A, you're like, oh, this is the answer, check. No, read A, be like, okay, this could possibly be the answer, and then read B and be like, yeah, no, this isn't the answer, and so on. You get it, right? Don't just read a question choice and be like, yeah, this is 100% the answer. I'm not gonna read the other answer choices. Give the other answer choices a chance. Tip number 4, I believe, when you look at answer choices, don't try to preform it always. It just kind of depends. Sometimes preforming it is a great strategy, sometimes it isn't. So kind of test it out and see yourself. Me personally, sometimes I do like to preform my answers so I know what answer choice I could possibly pick, but sometimes that doesn't work and it just confuses me and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. So yeah. Okay. I learned from Patrick Barrett, yeah, the Black Book basically, right? I learned that a vertical scan technique, which is a great technique by the way, basically, right, it typically works, best for grammar, questions. So let's say you had like grammar questions, right? The first thing you should do, you understand grammar questions asking like it has sentences, you know, like A is a sentence, B is a sentence. What you're gonna do, the vertical scan technique, is basically looking at A, comparing it to B, and then comparing B to C, and then C to D. I'm gonna try to like visualize it by putting like a photo, and what you do is your eyes just kind of go down and try to find the differences before actually reading it. So instead of like reading it horizontally, you read it this way and be like, okay, so A has an apostrophe there, and then B has a semicolon there, and then C doesn't have anything there. You know what I mean? This especially works if the sentence A, B, C, and D are just the exact same sentence, it's just that they have different apostrophes or different, I mean, not different apostrophes, sorry, different like punctuation. Try to avoid guessing answers. What you should do instead is when you come across a question, you're like, I'm confused. Try to solve it, and let's say you've spent like a minute or so on that question. You're like, yeah, I'm just not getting this question, right? Move on. Don't spend too much time on that question. Move on, but do not guess yet. Move on, and yeah, let's say you finished that page, you come back to that question, you try to solve it with like a fresh perspective. Try to solve that question, and if you still can't get it, do it again after you finish the next page or the next whatever, and next 2 pages or whatever you have left, and then come back to it. And then again, if you cannot solve it yet, then that's when you should guess. But other than that, just try to avoid guessing. Don't let that be, don't be like, okay, I can't solve this question, I'm just gonna guess. No, come back to it again and again and again. I would say 3 times. Come back to it, and then if you still cannot get it, then move on and guess. Now on the SAT, when you're studying for the SAT, there's something you should keep in mind, is that the SAT is very repetitive and simple. The questions may seem hard, but solving it is actually really simple and doesn't need like really hard mathematical techniques. You don't need to know like calculus for the SAT. You just need to know basic concepts, but you need to study what the SAT is, which I'm gonna recommend for the math. I'm gonna recommend the 1600.io math book. It's great. I love it. But the College Panda is good as well. However, the 1600.io is more like for people that suck at math, or like just are not that good at math, or well, that have not taken algebra 1 or geometry, you know, or have not excelled in those subjects. The book is great. But the College Panda, I didn't like it because I found it confusing, because I just never took algebra 1 and geometry the way I should have. So it was really hard for me. But if you've taken those and you've done okay or well, then go for the College Panda. College Panda is absolutely amazing, honestly. It's great. Oh, another thing. Oh my god, I completely went off. But like, again, the SAT is simple and repetitive. That means that it's just, you just need to study it. Again, use these books to study it. You will understand every question type. If you've ever taken a practice test, like an SAT practice test, the actual test you're going to take is not going to be that different. Like the questions are similar, they come in different format. The actually solving it is going to be the same. Now that you're going to take the SAT more than once, I would recommend taking the SAT more than once, because just take the SAT more than once. Okay. Keep in mind that you're gonna take the SAT. I mean, you have more chances to take the SAT. The test isn't just like, oh, you're gonna take the test and you cannot take it again. Not like that at all. You can take it again. Just keep that in mind so that you're healthy and you feel good about yourself, and you're not like, oh my god, I need to get this done today. I need to study 5 hours today. By the way, I don't recommend studying 5 hours a day. That's just another tip. Just do not overstudy. Do not overwork yourself. Just don't do that. Just don't. Okay, I would recommend studying about 2 to 3 hours a day, and like building. Oh, another thing is building that up. So like the first week you start studying, study like 5 minutes, like 30 minutes, and then increase that by 30 minutes, and then go on an hour, and then an hour and a half, and just increase that to like maximum 2 hours, or whatever is for you. Everybody's different. Some people can study 4 hours without burnout, and some people can only study like 2 hours without burnout, some an hour. We're all different. Just see what works for you, and do not overwork yourself. Try not to burn out, especially because I also recommend studying for like a month or 2 months before the SAT. I recommend 2 months or 3 months before the SAT. So again, try not to overwork yourself in those days. Like an hour to 2 hours a day is good enough, as long as you're studying, even 5 minutes, as long as you're studying that day. Okay.
Hey guys, it's me editing again. So I watched my YouTube video and found out that I was completely rambling and I sound like I'm just talking out of my mind, which I am, by the way. But if you guys have any questions about what I'm saying, please tell me in the comments, because I don't even know what I'm saying, you know? I really have no idea. So yeah, just ask me, please, because I'm I'm too lazy to make another YouTube video. I really am.
Also, there's this like myth that if you've taken the test like 10 times or 5 times, then you suck and you don't know anything and you're not gonna get into college. That's completely false. So don't worry about that. You can take the test 5 times as long as you improve like 50 points, or like a good amount of points for people to be like, oh, okay, she actually did something. Because people, colleges don't want to see that you took the test again and didn't improve. You only improved by 10 points, or even didn't improve at all, or got worse. You're just gonna find that as a weakness, and that you didn't work hard enough to increase points. So I recommend, if you're gonna take the test more than twice or whatever, actually study for that and grind. Do not just be like, okay, I'm just gonna take this test, I don't care. No, take every single test seriously. But also keep in mind that you can take the test again. Don't keep the one and done mentality. That will just stress you out and just put you in a bad place. So yeah, but like, again, take it seriously. Don't be like, oh, like I'm still gonna take the test again, like, oh, like without time. No, study every single day, grind. Do not overwork yourself. Okay guys, if you've been studying for the test for like the past 2 months or so, don't come into the test thinking, okay, I hope I'm gonna do well. I studied, but I'm gonna do well. No, you're gonna come into the test knowing that you studied how the SAT is, and how questions look on the SAT, and how like the aspects of the SAT. You've studied it, you've learned it, you've mastered it. You're gonna do well on the test, and that's a guarantee. That's how your mentality should be. You shouldn't be like, I hope. No, come in the test being like, I'm gonna bang this test. But again, don't like try to be realistic, and don't be like, oh, like I've studied for the past week, I'm gonna do well. No, like keep it realistic at the same time. Don't be disappointed, but again, like, don't be disappointed in yourself when you get a score that you don't want. Work on that later on, but come into the test knowing that you have learned all these tricks. Like, you've studied how the SAT is like, and you know what the questions on the SAT is gonna look like, and you know how to solve those questions. This is a tip, I believe, for me. I don't know. Forgot. Hold on, let me lay it out for you. Let's say you took a practice test, right? And you see what you got wrong, which, by the way, I love 600.io. They have like this website for like almost every SAT practice test. And what you do is that you find the section, it's only for math, you find the section, like if it's for third or fourth, and put in the question, and it'll tell you what kind of question that is and what you need to work on. So it'll tell you like, oh, this is like graph interpretation or whatever, and you need to work on this, right? It'll tell you like, this question is graph interpretation, and if you've got it wrong on the test that you've taken, the practice test, write it down. Make sure you master it more than actual prep, if that makes sense. Like, don't ignore it, work on it until you've mastered it, and then continue with your prep, because that's extremely important. You need to master it, because that's your weakness, right? Work on weaknesses instead of, I mean, weaknesses should be more important than prep. So basically, when we start off the test, people usually start the test off like 100%. They're like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do these questions. I'm gonna spend all my energy on these questions or on this section, typically the reading section. And then the next section, the writing section, they're like, oh, like, oh, like I feel fatigued. I have no energy, no more motivation, no endurance. That's exactly why you shouldn't put 100% on the first section or first few questions. Put in about like 30-50%, right? Put in, I mean, this, I'm speaking in like numbers, but I'm talking about like, don't just go in with all your energy and like use all of your mental force, whatever it's called. Like, don't use all of it on the first section. Go slowly, and practically I don't think you will, because I've assumed that you've been studying for the past 2 months or so. You already know what the question is about. You know how to solve it, so you don't need that much mental energy. Don't use it if you know how to, like, I don't know. Just don't use all of your mental energy, because that'll just end up giving you fatigue by the second section or third section. So this is a tip for people who have taken the first test already. So let's say you've taken the first test and you're like, oh my god, so the second test needs to be closer. Like, let's say I've taken the test in August. I need to take the test in September. Is there a test in September? I have no idea. I'm gonna take the test in September to be as close as I possibly can, so I don't forget everything. It isn't true. Like, you aren't gonna forget everything. Actually, it's going to store the information that you've learned for the first time prepping into your long-term memory, and your brain is going to mature as well. So not only is your brain going to mature, you're going to have stuff in your brain, and also a break is it's really nice. Like, it's like, take the test in August, and the next time you take the test could be in December. That would give you enough time to like relax, breathe, you know what I mean? Give yourself like a month of break, a 2-month break, right? Relax, don't stress yourself out, and then start prepping again, and it's going to be like butter. It's going to be easier. It's going to be easier than the first time you prepped for the first test. Yeah, also this could work for people who are prepping for the first test. If you feel like you've overworked yourself and you're just stressed out, take a break. Take a break. Because why should you just stay in that mentality and study that way? You know what I mean? It's just take a break, relax, breathe, take a breather, and then study again. So bring a watch that is preferably digital, but you could bring like one of the 12, you know. Yeah. However, remember that I can't say the word. Okay, but your school may not allow digital watches, so ask your school first if they allow digital watches. So the reason you need a digital watch or whatever is because you can kind of see how long time have passed, and you can be like, yeah, 10 minutes have passed by, great, right? But let's say if you had like one of those, I don't know what are they called, like the traditional clocks, set it to 12 every time you start a section. So let's say you start section 3, kind of fix it right to where the arrow would face 12, and it would start again, so you would see how long you've taken. Also, make sure that the watch is silent and is on your wrist. Obviously, those are preferable. I don't think any school allows the I don't know what the word is for it. Like, the ones that aren't on your wrist. So basically, my last tip would be own up to your okay? If my mom hadn't, you know, woke me up late that day, then I would have had more time to study. I don't even know what I'm saying. Like, just don't blame it on other people. Own up to your own be like, okay, I did this wrong. I should have done this, and next time I'm gonna do it. Next time when I study for the test, I'm not gonna do this. and do it. Just don't do that. I mean, don't do your mistake again. Learn from it. You know, don't blame it on people. Don't blame it on your teachers. No. Don't be like, oh, my teacher's a bad teacher. No, you should have went back home and studied it. And I mean, yes, you might have had a bad teacher, but you should have actually studied it. You know what I mean? You know. I know I said that was my last tip, but this is gonna be my last tip because it's very important. People are like, what's the difference between the SAT and the ACT and the SAT? Well, the ACT has a science section, that's it. But like practically they're the same test, but here's one, okay? The ACT you may not suit you. So let's say you wanted to pick one and you didn't know which one you wanted to pick. Take a practice test of each, see which one you prefer. Okay, which one you prefer doesn't mean, the score doesn't really matter. Just see which one you prefer, which one you like doing, which one you think you're gonna do better on if you studied for it. Or the one you've scored better in, okay? I don't know. Just see which one you prefer. That's what I'm gonna recommend. And then study that test. Study that test. Do not do the mistake of taking the SAT, studying for the SAT, getting a score that you don't want, and being like, maybe the ACT works better, and then study for that. No. Choose one and study for it. Study. Once you've chosen one, do not try to alternate between them. Just don't. Choose one, work on it, study on it, and if you've done bad on that test, work on why you've done bad on that test. Don't try to switch tests. Well, that is it, you guys. I'm sorry my hair is really crazy today, but it is what it is. So that's that. But like, this is my first ever YouTube video. Thank you for watching, and I am going to make a part 2 because I still have a bunch of more tips. I have a lot more. So yeah, this video is long enough. I don't want to make it too long because I know people don't like watching long videos, and I'm one of those people. So I'm just like I don't want to make this video like 30 minutes long, you know what I mean? I kind of want to make it into parts, so like you could watch the first part in a day and the next day you could watch the second part and so on. So that's that. I have more tips, but this is my general tips one. This is what everyone should watch. I believe like the next tip videos I'm gonna make, you should watch every single tip video, just saying. But like, again, I'm gonna link the resources I've gotten from. Again, some tips are from me, so yeah. But like, check the link description if you want like better explanations, basically. I'm just kind of summarizing it actually, so full credits to them. But yeah.